My name is Loretta Smith, and I'm 31 years old. I'm a commercial pilot for a regional airline based out of Denver, which means my life runs on checklists, weather briefings, time zones, and the kind of calm you develop when panic can't be an option. People hear pilot and imagine champagne, hotel views, and adventure. The reality is recycled air, hotel carpets that all look the same, and dinners eaten out of cardboard boxes at midnight. But I liked it. I liked the structure. I liked knowing that if I followed procedures and trusted my training, everyone landed safely. For a long time, I believed my personal life worked the same way. My fiancé, Ryan, was 29, an event coordinator with effortless charm. The kind of man who could walk into a chaotic room and somehow make everyone feel like things were under control. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for the last 8 months. We met at a friend's wedding, the kind where everything that could go wrong did. The DJ forgot half his equipment, the timeline fell apart, and the bride was 5 minutes away from a meltdown. Ryan stepped in without being asked. Calm voice, quick solutions, a smile that made people trust him. I remember thinking that night, this is someone who can handle pressure. This is someone I could build a life with. At first, it worked. He said he understood the pilot schedule. He didn't complain when I missed holidays or birthdays because I was flying. We rented a 2-bedroom condo in Cherry Creek, split bills evenly, and did what everyone calls being adults. Our walls were lined with photos, trips, birthdays, inside jokes frozen in frames. His Instagram looked like a relationship highlight reel, engagement photos, long captions about forever, ring shots angled just right so the diamond caught the light. My friends teased me about it. I defended him. He's just expressive, I said. Like expressiveness couldn't sometimes be performance. I proposed last summer at Red Rocks during his favorite band. Perfect sunset, music swelling. When he saw the ring, he cried hard enough that strangers turned around. He posted 17 Instagram stories before we even made it back to the car. Then came wedding planning, deposits on a mountain venue, photographer booked, save the dates sent. My bank account started bleeding in neat, professional invoices. I told myself that was normal. That was what commitment looked like. Looking back, there were signs I ignored. The way Ryan got tense when we ran into certain people from his past. The way he'd scroll social media with this hollow look, comparing our life to everyone else's highlight reels. Comments that sounded casual but landed wrong. Some people are still really living, you know? Or, it's crazy how fast we went straight into the settled down phase. I brushed it off as wedding nerves, cold feet, normal doubts. My best friend Cole, who'd been with me since flight school, wasn't convinced. One night over beers, he said quietly, "Loretta, he talks about your relationship like it's something he's serving time for." I laughed it off. He's stressed. Wedding stuff. Work stuff. Cole didn't push, but the look on his face stuck with me. Then came October. I'd just gotten back from a 3-day Pacific Northwest trip. I was exhausted in that bone-deep way that only comes from airports and time changes. I dragged my overnight bag into the condo, dreaming of a shower and takeout. Ryan was sitting on the couch with his laptop open, wedding Pinterest boards glowing on the screen. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile, "Thai or Indian tonight?" He snapped the laptop shut. That should have been my first clue. Ryan never closed tabs. "We need to talk," he said. Those 4 words made my stomach drop instantly. I sat across from him. His hands were clasped tightly in his lap. His knee bounced. He looked nervous. But there was something else there, too. Excitement. Like he was standing on the edge of something he wanted. "I've been thinking a lot," he said. "About us. About the future." "Okay," I replied carefully. "I love you," he rushed on. "I really do. You're amazing, stable, everything I should want." Should. That word hit harder than I expected. "I've only been with 3 women before you," he continued. 3. "And you're supposed to be my forever person." I waited. "And I just..." He twisted the engagement ring around his finger. "I need to experience more before I commit to forever." The room went painfully still. "Are you asking me," I said slowly, "if you can date other women before we get married?" He shook his head quickly. Not like cheating. Just dating, experiencing, seeing what's out there. How do I know you're the right one if I don't know what else exists? The logic was so twisted it almost impressed me. "So you want to pause our engagement," I said, "while you test other options?" "It's not like that," he insisted. "What if I marry you and spend the rest of my life wondering what I missed? That wouldn't be fair to either of us." Something inside me clicked into place, the same clarity I feel when turbulence hits, and panic would only make things worse. I stood up. He looked relieved, like he expected tears or yelling and didn't get either. "You're right," I said calmly. "Thank you for being honest." His shoulders dropped. "Really? You understand?" "Oh, I understand perfectly." I walked into the bedroom, opened my nightstand drawer, and took out the ring box. The paperwork, the velvet case, the weight of months of planning and years of belief. I came back and set it on the coffee table between us. "What are you doing?" he asked, confused. "I'm returning the ring," I said. His face shifted from relief to panic in seconds. "No, wait, that's not what I meant." "Yes, it is," I replied, "and that's okay. You're free." "You're breaking up with me?" His voice cracked. "You asked permission to date other women," I said. "I'm giving you exactly what you asked for." "I wanted a break, not a breakup." "Same thing," I said. "You don't get to keep me on standby while you shop around." Tears came fast. He reached for my hands, and I stepped back, not angry, just done. "This isn't what I meant," he sobbed. "You're being unreasonable." "I'm being clear," I said. "You should stay somewhere else tonight." "This is my home, too." "You can come back Friday to get your things," I replied, already calculating my flight schedule. "I'll be gone." He stared at me like I'd slapped him. 10 minutes later, he came out with an overnight bag, face red and furious. "You're going to regret this," he said at the door. I didn't flinch. "Doubt it." The door slammed so hard a picture on the wall tilted crooked. I stood there, staring at it, feeling the strange quiet that comes after impact. Then I called Cole. "Ryan just asked if he could date other women before the wedding," I said. So I gave him the ring back. There was silence on the other end. Then Cole exhaled. "Holy hell, you actually did it." "I'm not being someone's backup plan," I said. "Good," he replied. Then, after a pause, his tone shifted. "So, you're single now." "Cole, you know who you should call." I frowned. "Who?" He said the name slowly, like he knew exactly what it would do. Caden Morrison, Ryan's old high school nemesis. The man he avoided at his reunion. The man whose name suddenly felt like a match hovering over gasoline. And as I looked at the ring box still sitting on my coffee table, I realized something unsettling. Ryan had asked for freedom, and I was about to discover what mine really looked like. The first night alone felt unreal. The condo was too quiet, like a hotel room after checkout. Ryan's shoes were still by the door. His jacket hung on the back of a chair, like it was waiting for him to come back and prove this was all a misunderstanding. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Another buzz, then another. I turned the phone face down and went to shower, letting the water run hotter than necessary, trying to wash off the feeling that my life had been shoved off its axis in under 10 minutes. By the time I came back out, there were 12 missed calls and 3 voicemails, all from different numbers. Ryan was borrowing phones already. The first voicemail was tearful. The second was angry. The third was his mother. "Loretta," she said, voice tight with practiced disappointment. "I don't know what my son told you, but this is a massive overreaction. Ryan is just being honest about his feelings, and you're punishing him for that. You need to be more mature." I deleted it without finishing. I slept badly. Half dreams. Sudden jolts awake. My body kept expecting him to walk back in and say, "Okay, that was stupid. Let's reset." Morning proved otherwise. 17 more calls. Texts from mutual friends. Vague messages that said things like, "He's really struggling, and you didn't even try to talk it through." I ignored all of them and went for a run, pounding pavement until my lungs burned and my thoughts finally lined up into something sharp and usable. Clarity. Ryan hadn't slipped. He'd revealed himself. When I got back, sweat-soaked and shaking, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Cole. "Still alive?" he asked. "Barely," I said, collapsing onto the couch. "His mom called. Apparently I'm cruel and immature." Cole snorted. "Of course you are. You ruined the script." "What script?" "The one where he asks for space, sleeps around, then comes back to you waiting patiently with the ring." I closed my eyes. God. "So," Cole continued, casual, but not really. "About what I said last night." I opened one eye. "You're not letting this go, are you?" "Nope, because I'm right." "Caden Morrison is not an option," I said immediately. "He's absolutely an option," Cole replied. "You met him. You liked him. I talked to him for 20 minutes at a reunion." 20 minutes longer than Ryan could stand, Cole pointed out. "Plus, think about it. You're single. He's single. And it would drive Ryan absolutely insane." "That is not a reason to date someone." "It's not the reason," Cole said. "It's a bonus." I groaned. "You're terrible." "I'm strategic." After we hung up, I wandered around the condo, noticing all the ways Ryan had curated our life. Neutral colors, carefully chosen throw pillows, Wedding magazines stacked neatly on the table like evidence of a future that no longer existed. I picked up one of the magazines and dropped it straight into the trash. Then I did something I hadn't planned on doing. I opened Instagram. It took about 10 seconds to find Caden Morrison. Same confident smile I remembered. Hiking photos, conference badges, group shots that looked genuine instead of staged. His bio read, "Turning doctors into believers, one prescription at a time." I stared at his profile longer than I should have. This was stupid. This was petty. This was strangely freeing. Before I could overthink it, I typed, "Hey Caden, this is Loretta from Ryan's reunion last year. Not sure if you remember me. I'm a pilot, we talked about travel. Weird timing. But I just ended my engagement and could really use a coffee with someone who isn't emotionally invested in the fallout." I hovered over send. Then I hit it. The second after, panic hit. I tossed my phone onto the couch like it might explode. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. I told myself he wouldn't respond, that this was a ridiculous impulse and nothing more. My phone buzzed. "I remember you." "Captain, right? Sorry to hear about the engagement. Coffee sounds good. When are you free?" I laughed out loud, a sharp, surprise sound that echoed in the empty condo. We met that Friday near his office. He showed up in business casual, relaxed but polished, like someone who knew who he was without needing to announce it. No fake sympathy, no probing questions, just genuine curiosity. "So," he said once we had our drinks, "I'm guessing there's a story." "Ryan asked if he could date other women before we got married," I said flatly. "I gave him the ring back." Caden blinked. What?" That was my reaction too. He leaned back, shaking his head. "That's the most Ryan thing I've ever heard." I frowned. "What do you mean?" Caden hesitated. "I don't want to trash your ex." "You can," I said. "He already trashed himself." Caden sighed. "Ryan always wanted every door open. Even in high school. He wanted the dance team, but not the commitment. Wanted attention, but not responsibility. He liked having options more than choosing one." Something in my chest tightened. "So the stories he told me were edited," Caden said gently. "I didn't steal his friends. I showed up consistently. I didn't steal his crush. He was already dating someone else and keeping her on standby." The accuracy hurt. We talked for 2 hours. Not about Ryan mostly. About flying. About his job. About how exhausting it is to be in your 30s and realize you don't have time for ambiguity anymore. When we left, I surprised myself by saying, "Want to do this again? Dinner next time?" Caden smiled. "Are you asking me on a date?" "I am," I said. "No pressure." "I'm interested," he replied. "Just so you know, if Ryan finds out, he's going to lose his mind." "I know," I said. And for the first time since the breakup, I meant it when I said, "I'm okay with that." Dinner turned into another dinner, then another. One night, we watched a movie at his place and talked until 2 in the morning. I fell asleep on his couch, not because anything rushed or reckless happened, but because the conversation felt too real to cut short. That was the night I posted the photo. Nothing dramatic, just the two of us at a restaurant. Him laughing, my arm around his shoulder. Caption, "Great company, great food." I tagged him. He reposted it with "New favorite spot, new favorite person." My phone exploded. Friends, coworkers, my sister. Cole declaring me a legend. And then Ryan's people. Messages accusing me of cruelty, of doing this just to hurt him, of being manipulated. I didn't reply. I was too busy sitting across from Caden, watching him read his own flood of messages and laugh. "They think I'm some kind of mastermind villain," he said. "Apparently I stole you." I smiled. "Do you feel powerful?" "Immensely." The laughter felt light, but I knew better. This was just the beginning. Because people like Ryan didn't lose quietly. And somewhere I could feel it building. The moment when regret would finally decide to speak. The first call came at 3:17 a.m. I know the exact time because my phone lit up the dark room like a flare, harsh and intrusive. Unknown number, again. I was at Caden's place, curled into the corner of his couch, half asleep with a blanket pulled up to my chin. He was still awake, reading something on his tablet, glasses pushed up into his hair. I almost ignored it. Almost. Something in my chest tightened instead. "Do you want me to get that?" Caden asked quietly. I stared at the screen for another second, then shook my head. "No, but put it on speaker." I answered. "Hello?" The sound on the other end was immediate and unmistakable. Sobbing. Not quiet crying, not dignified sadness. This was broken, breathless, panicked. "Loretta, please, don't hang up." My stomach dropped. "Ryan." "I'm using my mom's phone," he rushed. "Please, I needed to hear your voice." Caden's eyebrow lifted slightly. He didn't say anything, just watched me, attentive but steady. "It's 3 in the morning," I said evenly. "What do you want?" I can't sleep, Ryan cried. I can't stop thinking about us, about how I ruined everything. There it was, regret, finally brave enough to speak when the world was quiet. I waited, silence stretched on the line, broken only by his breathing. So, I said. So I made a mistake, he said. I didn't mean any of it. I don't want other women. I want you. I felt oddly calm. You already had me, I replied, and that wasn't enough. That's not fair, he said desperately. You're with Caden just to hurt me. I know you are. Caden let out a quiet huff of disbelief beside me. I'm with Caden because he knows what he wants, I said. This has nothing to do with you. That's a lie, Ryan snapped. You know what he did to me in high school. And there it was. Not heartbreak. Ego. I know what you said he did, I replied. I also know you asked me for permission to date other women while wearing my ring. Ryan broke down again. I was scared. I didn't want to miss out. You didn't miss out, I said softly. You opted out. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, small and raw, I miss you. I exhaled slowly. You miss stability. You miss knowing I was there while you figured yourself out. That's not true. It is, I said, and it's why this doesn't work. Are you really not going to fight for us? He asked. There's nothing left to fight for, I replied. You already walked away. I just didn't chase. His breathing turned sharp, angry. I hate you. No, I said gently. You hate that I didn't wait. The line went dead. I set the phone down, hands steady. Caden looked at me for a long moment. That was intense. She needed to hear it, I said. He nodded. You handled it better than most people would have. The calls didn't stop after that. They multiplied. Ryan, his friends, his mother. Long voicemails explaining how he was going through something, how I was being cruel, how honesty shouldn't be punished. One message even claimed I'd been controlling during our relationship, that Ryan had finally worked up the courage to ask for space and I'd destroyed him for it. Revisionist history at its finest. I blocked every number. Caden and I kept moving forward. He met my parents. My mother pulled me aside while he helped my dad fix something in the garage. He's different, she said, calmer, real. The condo slowly stopped looking like Ryan's Pinterest dream and started looking like a home. Caden's books mixed with mine, his mug in the cabinet. No performance, no measuring. 3 weeks after the breakup, I heard through Cole that Ryan had started experiencing. Dates that went nowhere. Women who wanted casual, not commitment. Conversations that fizzled when there was no ring, no stability waiting at the end. Turns out, being an option didn't feel as good when you weren't the one holding the list. Then came the email. Long, apologetic. Self-aware in tone, self-centered in substance. I realize now I was scared of commitment. I didn't want to miss out, but what I missed out on was us. I read it once. Then I read it out loud to Caden. What are you going to say? He asked. Nothing, I replied. I deleted it, because some lessons only land when silence answers back. And I could feel it now, the balance shifting. Ryan wasn't chasing love. He was chasing the version of himself that felt in control. And that version was gone. Time did what it always does when you stop fighting it. It moved on. 3 months passed quietly, without drama or late-night phone calls or people demanding explanations I no longer owed. Caden and I didn't rush anything. We didn't have to. The absence of chaos created its own kind of intimacy. Calm mornings, shared routines, the comfort of knowing where you stood without needing to ask. We took a trip to Hawaii that winter. Nothing flashy. A small place near the beach. Mornings spent barefoot on the sand. Evenings watching the sky melt into the ocean. One night, sitting shoulder to shoulder with waves folding in the dark, Caden asked me plainly, "Where do you see this going?" I didn't hesitate. I see myself marrying you, not tomorrow, but someday, if that's what you want. He was quiet for a moment, then smiled. Good, I'm done with maybes. That clarity, that simple, direct honesty, felt heavier and more real than 4 years of promises with Ryan ever had. When we got back, I started looking at rings. I didn't tell Caden. I didn't tell anyone except my sister, who helped me choose something understated and elegant. No performance, no audience, just meaning. I proposed on a hiking trail at sunrise. No speeches, no theatrics. If you're in, I'm in, I said. If not, tell me now so we don't waste time. Caden laughed, eyes wet. That's the least romantic proposal I've ever heard. And I'm in, he said, completely. We planned a small wedding, 60 people, family, close friends, no compromises that left anyone sulking, no fights about aesthetics. It felt like building something instead of negotiating it. The wedding was perfect. Cole gave a toast about how I turned heartbreak into an upgrade. People laughed. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. Then came the grocery store. It was a random Tuesday afternoon. Caden and I were debating apples when I felt it. That familiar tightening in the chest you get when the past walks into the room. Ryan stood frozen at the end of the aisle. He looked wrecked. Sweatpants, unwashed hair, the kind of tired that sinks into your bones when denial finally gives up. His eyes dropped to my hand. The ring. You got married? He asked, voice cracking. Yes, I said simply. That was fast. When you know, you know. His face folded. I made a mistake, the biggest one of my life. I didn't feel anger or satisfaction, just distance. That's rough, I said. That's it? He demanded. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? I asked. You asked for other options. You got them. I wanted you, he whispered. I was just scared. Caden stepped forward, calm and unyielding. You had her. You decided she wasn't enough. She moved on. Ryan looked between us, eyes filling. Then, finally, he nodded. We walked away. That was the last time I saw him. 2 weeks later, Cole told me Ryan had moved to Seattle for a fresh start. Deleted his social media, quit his job, apparently focusing on himself now. Good. That wasn't my responsibility anymore. Years passed. Caden and I bought a house. We adopted a rescue dog who thought he was a lapdog. Built routines. Built peace. Once, about a year after the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number while I was at a work conference. I heard you're in town. Can we get coffee? I need closure. I showed it to Caden. He smiled. Are you going to go? I deleted it. I already have closure, I said. I married it. I never heard from Ryan again. Last I heard, he was still single, still telling people he was focusing on his career, still calling it empowerment. Maybe it was. But here's what I learned. People who want options rarely want consequences. People who want commitment don't ask to keep shopping. And love doesn't feel like waiting to be chosen. Ryan asked for freedom. I chose certainty, and that made all the difference.